Sunday to all you Star Wars fans out here. This is an amendment of a previous video. Anyway, I apologize, and this is the remake. This is the rehash of the previous video. It's the soft reboot of the previous video. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. I'm just trying to reach out to the Star Wars fans, and because I love Star Wars so much, and it's really actually enlightening and beautiful to see there are so many people who care about all this stuff as much as I do. I just wanted to touch on a few things that are of concern. Of course, the D.B. Weiss and the David Benioff situation. Just hearing that right off, I was blown away. Just so excited. And of course, so many people had been for so many years clamoring for kind of a Game of Thrones type Old Republic. I'm choosing to try to remain optimistic, and but we've been saying that for so long. Be so interesting to see the difference of all the houses, more particularly, especially with what's been going on with Rebels. Dave Filoni's been kind of expanding on the whole different houses, different family houses on Mandalore, and just that whole concept there it would be so exciting to learn about and hear. Seeing that in and of itself, like I could see Dave Benioff and D.B. Weiss doing like something that only takes place on Mandalore, only. Hopefully, of course, all of us hope that they would follow suit and still continue to, draw from the source material, which is what they're known for. They're really good at taking already established stories and making them hit the screen, making them become amazing characters on screens, characters that we all know and love. I would just, two characters just come to mind right away. Of course, Revan and Plagueis. Those are two characters who I'd love to see jump on the screen. Of course, thinking about it, this right here. I don't know if anybody saw this, but this particularly is really, really cool. Someone had kind of made this right when Disney purchased Lucasfilm, and they had been talking about doing Star Wars until 2020 and all these things, and so someone had, of course, a Netflix series, an Old Republic Netflix series would be incredible. So anyway, I guess it's finally, or at least these things are finally coming to fruition, or supposedly. Anyway, just like a quick background that I kind of did homework on for Dave Benioff. Dave Benioff was a New Yorker, grew up in New York and everything, but he and D.B. Weiss met in Trinity College in Dublin. Interesting, in 1995. I guess currently Dave Benioff's working on, I think, something called Gemini Man, which is about like kind of, I guess, an older hitman having to face a younger clone version of himself, which is, particularly interesting. But one of the things that was really interesting that I guess both of these guys had worked on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes, which I had not known. Dave did Wolverine, the original origin story, and Troy, which of course people had issues with in both of those films, but it was a long time ago, and I'm sure that he probably gets what parts of those weren't so great or whatever, but the point to recognize here is that these guys are great at expanding on source material that's already there. And I guess Kathleen Kennedy said specifically that that they're great storytellers, or they're great storytellers right now and well known for that. Their writing is pretty good, but I just hope that they go to the source material, and that's the next thing that I kind of wanted to touch on. Just seeing them going back to the what is current, or at least what we currently have as great source material. And just making that canon, making that stuff a beautiful part of Star Wars again, and hopefully they'll follow suit and go right to the books, for whatever that's worth. I mean, that's keeping what we already have, adapting the great stories and characters that we already love, like an HBO type series, like a rated R Star Wars, rated R Wars, so to speak. So anyway. I think it's just funny, you know, it's like Kathleen was saying that they're the best known storytellers, and you know, it's like in these situations they have like 20 writers that are doing it all for them, and they're just kind of approving stuff. I'm honestly, I don't know the details of that, but I'm sure that it's, you know, something like that goes like that. The whole concept of like one writer writing, but then someone else got the credit. It's this funny thing of like someone else is in this position, so they are guaranteed that credit. So it's just a funny thing. So anyway, but I just hope that I really hope that they can do that. I hope they can jump into the whole Game of Thrones thing. And those are the two guys right there. So met in Dublin and ended up working together. Chicago, New York guys, East Coast guys. So really understand story and character. Of course, once again, that's what makes me excited about this. But you know, I just hope that they do have them work on Old Republic stuff, because we need that lore. If you want to win the Star Wars fans back, you bring us the lore, the history, the parts that we loved about it. So about what's happening with the Lucasfilm Story Group and how that's kind of a funny situation. You know, it's like, especially when they're just handing these films to these guys, and that's fine and all, like, okay, you just go ahead and write it and we'll approve it, etc., that type of thing, which is fine. I think that's great. But I think one of the things that they have dropped the ball on is not going to the source material that has already happened. So this would be the first time that they're really kind of really jumping into that. Like, of course they brought back Thrawn back. Of course they brought Timothy Zahn back. Like J.J. Abrams, like they should have forced him to read some of the expanded universe, some of these books that, tell the story of Luke bringing back the Jedi Order and all these things and all these expanded universe stories. They should have made J.J. read those, or at least kind of updated him on it. If Dave Benioff and D.B. Weiss do end up doing an Old Republic or something that takes place on Coruscant, I'd love them to just get back with Lucino and talk to him and see what he does, because honestly his development of characters, the story, everything is just so incredible and so amazing to me. If you know me and all, I'm a huge Plagueis fan. Anyway, just amazing characters and stuff, and I would love to see Lucino back involved in the story group. He should be he should be on the Lucasfilm story group. That's what I really think. Lucino is brilliant. So if you want to do something different, I get it. You want to do something different than what you're doing before. Let's do that. Let's get into the heads of the writers. Those are the ones who really know true character development and real storytelling. So I would just love to see Coruscant in an ancient time. Coruscant, before it became I guess the breathable air is all artificially created. So I don't know. I think I read that in one of the later Aftermath novels. I don't know. I'd love to hear what everybody else's opinion on this. Are you excited about Dave Benioff and D.B. Weiss? I am, and I just hope that they can. I hope they jump into the books that we all love. So, and on to, of course, just my deepest concern with what's happening right now, Obi Wan. Honestly, I just don't think that this is going to happen. But of course, everybody loved the idea of having them be called Star Wars Anthology. I just don't think they're going to do this. I don't think it's going to happen. Quite frankly, I just think it's a huge missed opportunity. Huge missed opportunity here. It's like you've got to have. I mean, you have Ewan McGregor. He's the perfect age, etc. All these things, like. All the fans want it more than anything, and come on, Kathleen, it's like if you want to win fans back, you want to win us back, you want to have us back in those seats, seeing the movies 5 times like we normally do go and see them, then you bring us an Obi Wan movie. You gotta bring us an Obi Wan movie protecting Luke, because we didn't get the Luke we wanted, etc. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that, but something to consider. This is an extremely important character, someone who we all know and love. I just don't think they know how to write it. I don't think they're just scared to write it because, oh no, it's like a kind of, it's a desert movie. It's a movie in the desert that may not be as whatever. I think it would be amazing. You know, you have a great book right here. If you haven't read this book, it's incredible. And I know I've been tooting my own horn about this for a long time, but it's such an amazing novel written by John Jackson Miller. So check it out if you so desire. Anyway, just the reason why I mean, honestly, if they just took like beat for beat from this book, it's just great. It's the depth of the story and you know, into the Sand People, why they're there, the details of their different tribes, how they interact with one another, and then you've got all these things happening between them, and then you have Obi Wan in the mix, and he's like, you know, jumping from speeder to speeder and using the Force, but you know, not allowing people to see it, you know, not letting people to see him use the Force, having to hide his lightsaber and all these things. He's kind of like a vigilante. So he's kind of like the things that he does, and you know, kind of where he ends up, and you know, love interest, and there's all kinds of great things that are happening there. Anyway, I don't want to spoil it too much, of course, but if you get a chance, check it out. It's such an amazing. The scope of it is huge. That's what I remember it being so an extraordinarily cinematic approach to this. Just this huge scope of everything, and you know, he ends up fighting a crate dragon at the end. So forgive me, spoiler there. I apologize. It's just an amazing book, and it would just be great to see that. So it's like we should be, you know, shouting out loud to the Lucasfilm Story Group, hey, you know, let's at least read this book. So honestly, they probably don't even know. I mean, they probably know it exists, but they just won't go to it. So it's a beautifully written book, huge scope to it. And honestly, if you want, if Kathleen wants to win us back, then that's what you do. You bring us an Obi-Wan movie. For some reason, they decided, you know, to do that. If they actually ended up doing the movie, I honestly don't think they're going to bring Vader into it. Of course, missed opportunity. But yeah, I don't think they would bring Vader into it, just because. I guess there was what was it, from a certain point of view, that 40th anniversary book. There's like a million different stories in there. Some are actually pretty good. Most of them are mediocre, and some of them weren't good at all. But you know, one of them, I guess, was from Obi-Wan's point of view, and he's like, last time when I saw Vader, last time I saw Vader on Mustafar, you know. So I just don't think they're going to have him in it. So if they did have him, which is once again a missed opportunity. So, and this is something that I kind of explored or talked about in my the video that I scrapped. But it's like right when The Force Awakens was first announced, they announced it. I remember this really. I remember this so vividly. They said someone put kind of posted a poll, and I guess there was a poll that was taken like at Star Wars Celebration and all these other places, all these things, assessing kind of Obi-Wan as a character, and apparently, according to this poll, Obi-Wan was like the most favorite character of all Star Wars characters of all time, like, and he kind of is. I mean, like, if you look at this picture of him, and it's like, would anyone in the world not know who this is? I don't think anybody would say that, oh, that's just an old guy in a brown robe in a desert. No, they would know immediately that it's Obi Wan Kenobi. So anyway, huge missed opportunity if they don't do it. Really sad and huge missed opportunity if it doesn't end up happening. So it's like everybody kind of knows who Obi-Wan is and how amazing his character is, and I really feel that way. I really do think that he is the most loved character of all time, of all Star Wars time. So I love this arc here. I love this whole story with Obi-Wan and Luke, and I think just honestly they're probably gonna, some people Lucasfilm, or just some people are just like, we want new, everybody wants a new characters, and of course they do, but I feel like that we were you know, certain characters were mistreated, and we need to go back here and kind of, you know, get more grounded and rooted. And anyway, this whole thing's really great. You know, it could really expand on that, and it does. This book, he does. They expand on the him being this kind of really cool desert vigilante. And that's, you could totally do, it's like a superhero vigilante movie. I mean, I don't know, that's my 2 cents on it. So anyway, just if you haven't read the Obi Wan comics, they're really, the arc is really amazing, what he goes through and everything, and how he has to deal with things. But that's the beauty of it right there. Like, having him be like a, you know, he's kind of, you know, forgive the term, but kind of like a superhero in the desert, or vigilante superhero in the desert. That's kind of what I really feel like you could make it. So this is one of my favorite moments in Star Wars history right here. When I was a kid, I used to think that it slowed down the movie, but it's a great moment. I love that. Yeah, you can have Dash Star Plan if Ian McGregor says no. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks again for checking this video out. I really appreciate it. If you do like it, please feel free to subscribe. Our videos will do nothing but get better. So I appreciate your time, and may the Force be with you.